Hello, I'm Georgia Shakti-Hill, and I want to welcome you to Living in Balance. Heart Awakening, that's what the title of this program is. We're going to talk about the spiritual entrepreneur and the empowered woman. Come join us. I spent the weekend reading the materials that this woman has written, all about the workshops that she presents, her book. I listened to her tape, and there is so much wisdom and light for her to share with us. I am very pleased to have Reverend Toni Boehm with us. Welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, actually.
Well, I just enjoyed so much your philosophy and your whole wisdom and light, as I said, that you shared with the book that I read called The Spiritual Entrepreneur. Now, not to be confused with entrepreneur.
Definitely.
Okay, so share with us, what are we talking about here and why entrepreneur versus entrepreneur?
Well, an entrepreneur is one who builds their life, uses their time, their talents, their efforts, their energies, and their monies to build a life, and they're building it out here. And they never may look within for their answers. They're constantly just going one step after out there.
Yes. Yeah, they're working out,
yes.
Finding this
and
angle,
may
that.
Use manipulation and control and some little underhanded things, and oh, if I maybe fudge here, this will work over here. But the entrepreneur, the spiritual entrepreneur, is one who also uses their time, their talents, their efforts, their energies, and their monies. But they begin by building the life within, Georgia. It's Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom, and then everything will be added. When we begin to look within and start saying, whoa, everything I do is going to be based on integrity, it's going to be based on authenticity, it's going to be based on knowing that deeper essence of who I am.
And those are great words. Those are great characteristics, authenticity and integrity. And people appreciate that in another person. And in order for us to build that, we really do have to look within. I think that's why I enjoyed so much. Your book reminded me of those philosophies and those principles that are basic to a person who is on a spiritual path and has intention, okay?
Oh, yes.
Now you ask us to ask ourselves 3 questions, and you said this is very important, whether we're at the beginning of our journey or in the middle or along the path a while. The first of those questions is, who am I?
Yes. Who am I? It sounds like a simple question, but actually throughout the ages, the sages have known, if you ask that question seriously in every moment, who am I? And continue asking it in every situation that comes up, that you will begin to get new answers. But there's a little key to that, Georgia. And that key I mentioned in the book has to do with self-honesty. Is you can't kind of cover it up, well, yeah, I'm being loving, when you know you're not being loving. And the who am I is just truly, again, about being that self-honesty. And self-honesty is said to be the prelude to what I call the Christ consciousness, what you might call the higher power, to becoming one with that universal presence.
Okay. And then your next question is, what do I believe?
Right. And when you begin to ask the question, who am I? Because they all 3 flow into the other. Then you have to ask, and what do I believe? If I say, who am I? And I say, well, I am a child of God. Well, then what do I believe about that? Then what does that mean to me? Does that mean that as that child of God, I want to express love, I want to express the authenticity, I want to express the integrity, I want to be self-honest? Well, then that flows into the third question is, okay, then how am I living those beliefs? And again, that's in every moment.
Or
you have
not.
to, or not. And it's like we can sit there and we can be so pious saying, oh yes, I definitely am this sweet, loving being. And then you get behind the back of your car, behind the wheel of your car, and you drive down the road, like one sweet driver today on the way in, and gave me one of these wonderful signs because I stopped at a stop sign that was yellow, or a stoplight that was yellow rather than going through it, you know. And so it's that, who am I, what do I believe, and how am I living those beliefs?
And in any situation, we can ask ourselves those 3 questions. And especially if it's maybe a tough situation where we are being challenged, there are obstacles. And so that would kind of take us back to center, So you're not saying you do those occasionally. You can do those anytime as needed.
Yes, yes. And
Okay.
they become a part of you. When you truly begin to ask that question, who am I, and begin that deep, that know thyself, the oracles of Delphi thousands of years
yes,
ago,
yes.
you know, brought
there.
forth.
Yes.
Yes. So it's that whole idea of just asking it in every moment of life.
And Toni, for example, you are a teacher, a nurse, a minister, an author, but that's not the who am I that you're asking for,
no,
is it?
No, it's not about who we are as mother, daughter, sister, lover, friend. It's the deeper question of who am I as this spiritual person? Who am I as a spiritual entrepreneur? How often do I call on it? In the book, I call it the presence, because I think that makes it maybe a little easier for people than God, because some people have been hurt by religion. And so if we can just start thinking of this presence that is around us and surrounds us
With
and
whatever
embraces us.
name is comfortable, whether it's, as you said, like higher power, the universe, God, whatever works for you, but you use the presence. Okay. Now, this is a quote from the book that starts one of your chapters. There are no boundaries in consciousness, only perceived limitations. And
Well, there are no boundaries in consciousness. There's also an old saying that says there are no prisons as strong as the ones we build with our mind. And so it's our thoughts. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are energy. And as we collect thoughts, if they're positive thoughts, then they'll go forth to create in our world positive ideas and positive things that come back to us. They're like magnets. But if we allow negative thoughts to be collecting in our mind, that's going to go out also. The universe doesn't care what kind of thoughts you hold. It's just going to give you back what it is that you're sending forth.
And we keep getting that from all the different disciplines and philosophies that we really do have the power to create in our lives. But what we're thinking is the energy we're putting out there. And so we can have the negative self-fulfilling prophecies, or we can have this wonderful positive life. And we have power in this.
And the power, Georgia, comes from the conscious choices you're willing to make in every moment.
Okay.
The conscious choices. Because lots of times we go around making unconscious choices. And so we have to consciously say, oh, who am I in this moment?
Okay, so on a conscious level, okay, so we keep this, we hold that in our thought process. And it's one of those things that people say, you know, I can get sort of bogged down in negativity, but we want to just remind ourselves over and over that we have a choice in
Right,
this.
in every moment. It doesn't even matter what's going on. You can be in the midst of something disastrous and you still have a choice not to ask, why is this happening to me, but what can I learn from it?
And that's that stepping back and looking at it objectively, taking the negative connotation off of it and just saying, okay, what is the lesson in this? What do I need to get? Now you have a big yes, Y-E-S, with dots and periods after.
Yes.
What is the yes standing for?
Oh, and I love this. I use this in my life a lot. It came to me several years ago through a friend, and it stands for your empowerment system. When you say yes to the universe, you are giving your permission. It's your empowerment system. I'm saying yes to an abundant life, a sense of well-being in everywhere, in every area of my life.
Well, gosh, this just sounds really positive. It is, isn't it?
It is. It's very positive.
And that's what I love about reading and being reminded of these things, because, and that's where I think some people don't have enough positive input, and so they have to like create it themselves. And that's what you're saying too. Take responsibility for bringing the positive into your own life. Create it yourself. Remind yourself. You have a tape that I listened to, I Am Forgiving, and also The Butterfly on the Other Side. You told a story, and I thought it was very powerful, both in your book and on the tape, about your mother, and you're healing that relationship. And we do have steps we can take to heal so that we can move on into this positive living. Tell us just in a couple minutes about the essence of that.
Well, Georgia, my mother was a paranoid schizophrenic, and at the age of 10, she left the family and went to the hospital. And in doing that, it catapulted me as the eldest child into a place of responsibility, of being, in my perception, the woman of the house, taking care of things, the cooking and the cleaning, and making sure that everybody was out the door and having everything ready. And I became very angry because she would only come home for short periods of time. And even when I was 15, she came home for a short period of time. She got pregnant, had a baby, and then left me with the baby.
There you were with
and there
more
I was
responsibility.
with more responsibility.
Yeah.
And so the anger grew into deep resentment, and the resentment grew into bitterness, and the bitterness grew into hate. And I hated my mother. I mean, I'm not very proud of that, but I did
but
for
that's
years.
honest.
Yes.
Okay.
But I had to face that. That was the dragon I had to face.
Yeah.
And so one day, many years later, when I was about 30, I was in meditation, and I had had my spiritual kind of awakening a few years before and was on the path. And I was, as I said, I was in meditation when literally I felt this light. I don't know if it came from my head or my heart or where it came from, but it burst open. It burst open my heart. And I mean, it was like somebody was washing me with love. And I just felt like undulating rhythms of love moving through me. And behind the light came a picture of my mother.
Wow. Oh, I just get goosebumps as you share that.
And so I left the meditation, and after I got done sobbing, and I went to the phone, and this was a woman, she would call me and I would hang up on her. It's like I had no time for her.
But now you were able to heal that. Oh,
Well,
that's just wonderful. Oh, I love that story. Thank you.
Can I just finish the one, Andy? When I called her and she picked up the phone, she said, Toni, she said, honey, there's nothing to forgive. We were both doing the best with what we were given.
Oh, I love that. Oh, okay. We will be right back about being an empowered woman and forgiving in the next segment. If you are just joining us, we're talking with Reverend Toni Boehm. She is a spiritual entrepreneur and says you are one too. And now we're going to talk about being an empowered woman. And whether you're a man or a woman, you will want to know those characteristics of the empowered woman. You've just taught a workshop on the goddess, the divine goddess, and on the empowered woman. And you have characteristics or qualities of the empowered woman. And one of them is that we must ask deeper questions.
Yes, and it goes back to the first segment that we had just completed, of beginning to ask those deeper questions, of finding out who I am, to look at myself and to start asking those questions, in whose image am I made?
Okay, so at that level, that deep level.
Right.
And sing your own song. I loved that. And how do you define that?
Oh, it's not being a copy of what someone else wants you to be. In the workshop, I use actually a children's book, and I act out this little scenario about a lizard and a frog, and it's just quite fun. And in that, the frog tries to steal the lizard's song, but then in the end, they create a song for the frog. So.
And we do have pressures from outside energy wanting us to do something, and so we really are supposed to know what our own song is. I like that. Live an exciting and fun life. I liked that.
Well, it's sometimes we allow our life to become drudgery, and we truly just have to create some fun.
We want to play, and we have to keep that childlike essence about us. That's where we keep our enthusiasm. Yeah.
Yes.
Find the splendor within you. That's kind of loving yourself, isn't it?
Definitely. There is that imprisoned splendor, and sometimes we just have to find the way to let it out. And it's also about believing in yourself, in your abilities, in your talents, and what you can do. I see so many women and men who have a dream, and they're just not willing to move forward
go
with
for
it.
Yeah,
They're
just to
afraid.
really go for it.
Yes.
But I like that because a lot of people are not recognizing the splendor within them, and each of us have that splendor within, do we not?
Absolutely.
Yes. Enjoy your eccentricity.
Oh, well, if you ever came to one of the women's retreats that I do, you will see that my eccentricity is I love to dress wildly and flamboyantly. and you know what? This is who I am. And either you love me or leave me, what can I say?
Yeah. But that's good. You are expressing yourself. And you really gave a giggle to that. We should have seen you then dressed up, right? Because you look very sedate.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have known. Don't sabotage yourself.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I think there's many ways in life that we sabotage ourselves, and by not living in our power, by not seeing how powerful we truly are as not only women, but as human beings.
Yes, so just honoring our own power. Invite life in.
Invite life in. This is the fun part, because when I do a women's retreat, I have them state their dream. What is it? What do you want to do? How do you want to, if I said to you, you could write an invitation for anything you wanted to invite somebody to a party, for any expression that you wanted, they stand up, and I mean, they cry. These women cry as they say, you were invited to a book signing, or you were invited to the first open house of my creative display of artwork, and it's wonderful.
So I like that. And then take time to pray and live from the heart.
Oh, yes. Take time to pray, because we have to go apart a while to truly begin to ask those deeper questions of who am I? It goes back to number one. When we take time to pray, we touch and we become connected with that inner part of our beingness.
And you do recommend that a lot, because we cannot hear that still small voice within if we do not quiet ourselves. You talk about prayer time, meditation time, and it's really a gift we give to ourselves, is it not?
Absolutely.
Now, the divine feminine. Oh, and this is
Yes.
controversial. Guys don't know why we're into this, right? But you are teaching that the history of the divine feminine is that for a while it was not in to be a woman, and so it's back in again.
Well, I actually call it reclaiming the feminine face of God.
Okay.
Because in Genesis 1:26 it says, "Let us make them in our image, male and female. Let us make them." So a deeper question,
Who's the us?
who's the us?
Yes.
And so
Okay.
it's God in both aspects, male and female. God is both and.
So that's why some people even say Mother, Father, God.
Exactly.
Because they want to re-emphasize that, the us part. We have some beautiful artwork, and I wanted you just to share a little, because you said the goddess of Willendorf was the first of the feminine goddess images and beautiful artwork, and this one is famous, and the essence of that is the fertility?
She was about bountifulness. You'll see in her picture that she's large with pendulous breast, and she represented fertility and bounty.
And then the Black Madonna. Now, the Black Madonnas are everywhere, all over.
Yes,
And
there's over
different-
400 shrines to her
Yes.
in the world.
Right.
And she is about transformation and healing. She holds that archetypal energy for transformation and healing.
You said also, and I appreciated this, that each of the next goddesses, there was something about their essence that you were able to own. So from Kali, what did you receive?
Power. Power, the ability to know that if you look at Kali, she looks ugly. She has many times these skulls around her neck. But when you go deeper, again, looking deeper, the skulls represent the vices that she helps to tear away.
Okay. So that's power.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Hecate?
Hecate is the goddess of the night, and she literally, to me, is that crone. It's that moment in time when I began to own my own wisdom.
Okay,
To
so
know
it's
that I am a wise woman.
a step in your own personal development and evolution so that you owned your wisdom.
Yes.
I like that. And Isis, what did she bring to you?
Isis with her wonderful wings.
Yes.
She was about resurrection. She's about the lifting up and the new life. And you know, when we begin to claim, Georgia, who we are, we do get birthed with a new life and a new sense of resurrecting.
Yes, and people even notice that difference, the change that has come about when you have made those shifts in your own consciousness. Everyone around you notices that difference.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons why I've always felt that an empowered woman is a gift to every man in her life, every woman in her life, because she is then being the best that she can be.
Absolutely.
And we come then to Shakti.
Oh, yes, Shiva and Shakti. And again, Shakti is the feminine counterpart of Shiva, the masculine. And you know, the masculine and the feminine must dance together. And that's what Shakti represents to me, the interplay.
In fact, you seldom see Shakti by herself. She is always with Shiva.
Yes, yes.
And it is that dance.
Inside of me, inside of you.
Yes,
It's not that you're feminine and your husband's masculine. It's the idea we have both of these sides to us,
Yes.
masculine and feminine.
And it is the masculine then that gets us out there in the world and doing what we need to do, and it is the feminine that is the receptive side of us. But within each of us, male or female, we have again the us.
Exactly.
Yes. Now, one of the things that I love that you teach is the prayer of the heart, and I thought that was so pretty, and I wondered if you might share a little bit of that with us.
Well, this is actually an ancient prayer, and if you'd like to experience it, I'd be glad. Just a very quick experience.
Thank you. Okay, we'd
But
enjoy that.
it would just be a moment of just asking the people to close their eyes for a second and to imagine that there is a light at the top of your head, and just see that light growing. And as the light begins to grow, imagine the words inside of it, I am love. I am love. And then as the light grows, the light's going to start to take a descent, and it will move down past your eyes and your nose and your mouth and your throat until it rests behind your heart. And then as it rests behind your heart, like an elevator shaft, now feel the words, I am love, that are in your head moving down that same shaft of light, and get the sense of them moving so that you feel them as they move from the head to the heart. And so they go past the eyes, I am love, the nose, I am love, past your power center, I am love, and rest behind the heart in the light, I am love. And now take a deep breath, and as you do that, let the words penetrate your heart. And this is about teaching you to learn to pray without ceasing. It doesn't take the place of your meditation for 20 minutes or a half hour.
But taking from the head to the heart, that's a
Yes.
gift. That really is. And many of our teachers are sharing that we need all to have both the head and the heart in sync. And so that is one of those ways that we can do that. I
Yes.
appreciate that. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the work that you are doing, again, as nurse, minister, teacher, and author, you really are an empowered woman
Thank you.
and a spiritual entrepreneur.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And if you would like to be in touch with Toni and also with us, we always love to hear from you. Just stay tuned. Reverend Toni Boehm has shared with us what she calls the awakening heart, and also her prayer of the heart. And it always comes back to love, but it also comes to empowerment, looking within. And if we are a spiritual entrepreneur, then that's where we want to start, not outside ourselves, but within ourselves. Until next time, I'm Georgia Shakti-Hill. May you be well, happy, and peaceful.